Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is a story of Tango India Alpha Bravo Echo. I bought this airplane in 2009 when I was learning to fly. Flew it in Costa Rica in some challenging jungle trips. I had many adventures with this airplane, including getting stuck in the mud, go through storms, traveling the whole country. I equipped this airplane to be a good airplane for the backcountry with sportsman stall, empty propeller, VGs, angle of attack indicator. I flew this airplane all around Central America. This is Bocas del Toro in Panama. Did a trip to Panama for 15 days, going to the Pacific coast and the Atlantic coast. Then Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala. I went through Mexico when I flew this airplane from Costa Rica to Seattle. In Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, I flew it in the grabber bars and learned to fly the grabber bars in Seattle area. It was a different kind of flying, a lot more challenging and required a lot of precision, and also required that you have to go fly slow and low and scout for the gravel bars, maybe holes, bigger rocks or logs. Since this is a nose wheel airplane, all this scouting is necessary because the nose gear is the weak link of the airplane. Even if I fly in a tail wheel, I will scout the gravel bars, but the limits of the Cessna 182 are the nose gear and the firewall. In Washington, also learn more about flying in the mountains. It's different than the mountains in Costa Rica. Here are more sharp and the weather can be more unpredictable. It can change quickly, so you have to be careful. Also icing and icing on the carburetor. The Continental 0470 makes a lot of ice. But this Cessna 182 has been amazing, very reliable, and it worked in all these different conditions like short gravel bars, bigger rocks, and mountains. A highlight for me was to take this airplane to Idaho. Before being a pilot, I used to practice on these airstrips and flight simulator, and for me to come in my own airplane was like a dream come true. I did 5 trips to the Idaho backcountry. Tried to fly to many of the airstrips. The Cessna 182 really impressed me. It performed really good, high density altitude and mountain trips. It carried a big load. I took it to some very rough strips like Soldier Bar with lots of bumps and ditches, and it really worked great. I also took the 182 to Montana and Oregon. This is Camp Patriot in Montana. I took this 182 to many air shows, won some flower bombing contests, did some stall demonstrations. I took it to California, Nevada, Arizona, and flew the coast of Mexico. Most of the time, every place I landed, somebody recognized this airplane from YouTube or even the catalog from McFarland, and they were very nice to me and talk about my airplane. In 2020, I took the airplane back to Costa Rica. Flew it with no problems until on one flight we had a partial engine failure. Here is the accident. Honestly, I thought I was going to make it okay. I thought that it was some soft sand. I said maybe we got stuck, but not like this. The motor was still producing some power, so I came with power on and very slow. I did not want to touch the brakes because the sand was too soft and I was worried we might get stuck or tip over. When this is happening, you don't believe it's real. It's a very strange feeling. The first thought is this cannot be happening for real. I felt a jolt from the four-point harness seatbelt, but nothing major. That was all. I am glad that when we touched down, the sand was not as soft, or else we would have tipped over and maybe we would have had injuries. By the time the sand was really soft, we were slow enough that the airplane did not tip over. The first and most important concern was if anybody was injured, and everybody was okay. No, nothing happened to anyone. And then we start to check the damage on the airplane. When the nose of the airplane sank, I saw the propeller exploded in front of my eyes in a million pieces of wood. This is an empty propeller, wood core with fiber, and actually it's good because this can help to reduce the damage in the engine because the propeller absorbs the impact and does not translate this to the motor. We will see when the crank is inspected to see if there is damage. Most likely it will be okay. The nose gear was shared, but apart from that, probably the firewall was damaged. When the police arrived in a helicopter and then the firemen arrived by boat, the first priority was to get the airplane all the way back to where the grass is, which is the higher part of the island. So when the tide comes, it will not take the airplane away.
Anda como 45, 50 galones.
This took quite a lot of effort, and luckily we were a lot of people helping to do this. The sand was wet, so it was very soft underneath, and the tires were sinking, so I took some air out. That helped some, but still, it was a lot of effort. A few hours later, my mechanic arrived and they camped for the night to start disassembly the airplane to be transported on a small boat back to Sierpe. You can see the tent on the background. They did a great job and they didn't do any damage to the airplane apart from what happened in the crash. It took them all day to put the airplane, the wings, in the small boats. They had to cross waves. They told me the boat almost tipped over with the airplane. And by the time they arrived in Sierpe was night. But they did a very good rescue and it was successful. I think these guys will remember this day forever, and also myself. Here they're taking the airplane in Sierpe, where they will put it on a truck and then they will drive for 3 hours to Aranjuez. It has been a real adventure. I'm very happy that this airplane made it. I really like this airplane. I have been through a lot of adventures and experiences with it. There was a lot of damage to the firewall. It was destroyed. We have to make a new one. Also the landing gear, all the pieces were destroyed. We had to make new ones. And actually now the firewall is reinforced and the gear is reinforced and it's better than ever. This part was made by an aviation company in the USA. We sent it back to Costa Rica. Then I had some sheet and metal workers doing a great job with the new firewall and it was reinforced. We overhauled the engine and we found that there was the blockage of the oil passage of cylinder number 6. Seems to be someone left a rag inside the engine and that caused the blockage. All the landing gear parts were put back together. I really want to be thankful for support from McFarland and also from MT Propeller. They helped me out with some discounts, and actually the aviation community was great with me. They have been very supportive and they help with some good discounts. So after 1 year and a half, this is the first run up of the engine. Everything went well. Making sure everything is in the parameters, oil temps, oil pressure, CHTs, VGT, all seem good, and here is the very first takeoff after the repairs. This is in Aranjuez in Costa Rica, near Punta Arenas. First flight was around the pattern, making sure everything works fine. Mechanic did a great job. Since the very first flight, the airplane was flying really good, no issues. Actually flies better than before, hands off, straight and level, no wing drop anywhere, and it's quieter. We have a new exhaust, so it's flying really nice. I really missed flying the 182, and I'm glad I got to fly it again. Now this airplane is going to stay in Costa Rica, where I will be going a few months of the year, so we'll have this airplane over there. So after the break-in, we started to have fun again, going to some fun trips. Probably the Cessna 182 is the most versatile airplane. It doesn't do anything bad. It can do everything really. Carry a lot of weight. It doesn't go that slow. And you can take it to the backcountry. You can take it to challenging places. You can fly it far. You can take 4 people with full luggage, full fuel. So I think it's really a great airplane, and I'm happy to be enjoying this airplane again. Please join me on Patreon to support my channel. It is very easy to join Patreon. Go to my YouTube channel, the link is in the description of this video, and navigate below Backcountry 182 on the top right. You can click on Patreon and it will take you to the Patreon page where you can select your membership level. It will show you the tiers and everything. By becoming a Patreon for Backcountry 182, you will not only be helping the YouTube channel, but you can also get direct advice or discount on some aviation products for your airplane, or advice or products for your airplane. We can chat, video call if needed.